Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. This week, we watched Spirited Away, 2001 Studio Ghibli film directed by Hayao Miyazaki. Joining me this week is Zach, Ben, Cam, and myself, Dylan. To get things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to get into this week's libation. Ooh.
Just say cocktail. Don't be hoity-toity. This is a blue-collar podcast.
We're the people's podcast. You're right. This is Cocktails and Classics. This week we're drinking Spirited Away from Santeria Tequila.
I was kind of surprised we couldn't get a Japanese whiskey in with maybe some maple syrup in this week.
Or like a little sake or something.
Oh, some sake, yeah.
Are you a big sake guy, Ben?
No, I just figured, we'd do something cultural to the movie, but
Well, true, but
not tequila. That just seems kind of out there, but
Fun. Oh, yeah, and out there.
This is our first tequila cocktail, actually.
wow.
Wow, really?
I'm pretty sure.
We got to turn that
think we've had
around.
one yet.
Tequila and maple syrup, 2021.
Oh, no.
Oh god.
But the ingredients, it's a very ginger-forward cocktail. Tequila, añejo, ginger liqueur, lemongrass simple syrup, or I just used lemon and mint. Apparently the flavors are similar. Lime juice and ginger. It's pretty good. I'm not like the biggest tequila person because usually people just do shots with it. It's really good in a nice margarita. But this is pretty good. I'm a big ginger fan. I do like me some ginger candy. Throw it in my food.
Yeah.
Yeah, tequila up until maybe a year or two ago was definitely a utility for me. It was a tool to get something accomplished, but I've been enjoying it a lot more recently.
Yeah.
You and your Kirkland brand.
Honestly, the Kirkland Añejo, not a sponsor, it's like $30 for a giant bottle, and it is delicious.
I'm just going to say it. I'd rather buy that bottle than a bottle of Patron.
Easily.
Just going to throw it out
Easily.
there.
They're next to each other at Costco,
Yeah.
and you're better off with the cheaper, higher volume bottle.
Right. And I haven't compared it with the Añejo Patron, but especially if you're just looking at getting like a gold or silver versus the Añejo Kirkland, definitely the aged. No question.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that this is the first tequila cocktail, but now that you say that, I'm like, what other cocktails have I ever really seen made with a lot of tequila that's not like basically like a 2-ingredient? I mean, the margarita, and other than that, it's like tequila plus one mixer, which does that make a cocktail?
We discussed this last week, Ben. And it does.
Okay.
Vodka cranberry was the example.
Gotcha.
The bourbon maple syrup.
The martini was the one that Ben threw out that like
It's basically, well, that's
shocked the world.
That's a cocktail with basically just two liquors, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. But
That's the way I like my cocktails.
I feel like there's not a lot of, when you think about whiskey in that, although Lord knows, I think before this podcast, I don't think I've tried whiskey with nearly as many mixers as I have. But yeah, you say that, and tequila really, I feel like, does not have a long list of like very popular cocktails.
No, I mean you have like tequila sunrise.
Which is what, tequila and orange juice?
I think so.
Yeah.
Grenadine, yeah.
Oh yeah, you can.
There's the Paloma, which is the same thing, but with grapefruit soda instead of orange juice.
Yeah, I mean I think it's kind of like really coming into its own in America, like in like the like cocktail renaissance. Like people are like throwing in like
We need to
fancy
get
shit,
in on the
but
ground floor of that. We need to be
Yeah.
the
Let's start harvesting some agave.
We need to be the podcast that was in on the ground floor of tequila.
Yes.
Tequila and Television, the spin-off series.
Ooh. Start with The Wire.
Oh,
we
could
watched
do
the entire
Wire.
series of The Wire and just do tequila shots the entire time.
All right, I'll see you boys next week. I'm going to be awake for about, I don't know how many hours straight.
I would imagine we would do like one episode like per episode of the podcast, not like season 1. Here's
All of
12
it.
hours of content. Yeah.
But if that's something you listeners are interested in, let us know because we will definitely do it.
Oh no, you've tickled Zach's tequila button. If you want to make a Spirited Away, check the show notes below. Tell us what you think. Send us a picture on Instagram. tag us at Cocktails and Classics Pod or use the hashtag Cocktails and Classics. We'd love to see what you make and hear your thoughts. And sit back. We're about to spoil this movie. So
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of the show. Check it out. It's on HBO Max, and they have most of the Studio Ghibli films on there. So, Spirited Away is a 2001 animated family adventure film. I say family because I don't know.
I feel like it's a kids movie.
A little bit. It's a little bit more adult.
Dog, it's
like.
pretty
feel like
creepy for a kids
Okay,
movie. I don't know.
I will say, I feel like it's a movie kids would enjoy visually, but maybe not understand fully.
I think that's a Disney trademark, though.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I said. Like
this
Pixar,
movie
some
seems
of those are a little bit more.
Yeah, it seems like if this were made in the U.S., it would begin with the Disney castle.
Yeah, Disney Japan did produce it.
I was gonna say they own the
Oh.
distribution rights in
Okay.
America.
Then why is it on HBO Max and not Disney Plus?
Dude, Marvel
know.
movies, man. They're still gathering those up.
It currently sits at an 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb. It's the story of Chihiro, who is a little girl. Her family's moving to a new town, and they come across this mysterious building. Her parents go in. She enters into
It's like a
the spirit
festival.
world,
Yeah.
and it's her adventures in the spirit world and trying to get
We
back to her
kind of
parents.
glossed over the fact that her parents turned into giant pigs in front of her eyes.
I think
Well,
we'll
not
get into
for the
that.
No,
eyes.
she left. They were
She
human.
walks
When she
away.
comes back, they're
Yes.
pigs.
Okay, sure. Yes, that's true.
Which for a 10-year-old girl is terrifying as shit, and I don't know how
Right.
she wasn't more
For a
worried.
26-year-old man, that's terrifying as shit. When you're walking away, you come back and your parents are fucking pigs. Like, what the fuck?
Listen,
Yeah.
And they're
dad was
huge.
like-
They're huge. They're man-sized
yeah,
pigs.
they are large
And
pigs.
her dad is just getting straight up bitch slapped in the face with
He
that
is,
fly
yeah.
swatter. Just getting taken to town.
Yeah, her dad was very like gung ho about it. Like, oh, we've pulled up to this random thing I took a wrong turn to get to. Let's go check it out.
Oh, there's food here? That can't... This is weird.
I smell food. Let's go.
Yeah, I
Let's
feel
eat.
like this movie.
Yeah, what was it? I have cash and a credit card.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
worry, your
plenty of
dad's
credit
here.
cards and cash.
Also, why the hell are you walking through an amusement park on the hunt for food? Like, not even an amusement park, an abandoned amusement park.
Right.
Yes, they built a bunch of these in the 90s.
Like, that's what I would do.
Like,
go
oh,
bankrupt.
economy went bad in 2001. Weird. Oh, but there's food here.
Cedar Point's
so good.
closed. Oh, that's weird because I smell Chick-fil-A. I'll just go see what's up. No.
Maybe
What
there's
is wrong
Chick-fil-A
with you?
around, you know? Maybe
Dude,
there's some
before-
food.
Before we got more Chick-fil-A's in Michigan than the one in Cedar Point, you might have caught some people doing that.
On the hunt for Chick-fil-A.
This
I really
this
love
a bit
homophobic
of a
chicken.
pricey admission into
It tastes so
Chick-fil-A,
good.
but it's really worth it. This movie is number 27. It depends on the list you use, because the list Cam sent, I think it was 23 out of the top 100. But
I don't
if
know.
you look at
I sent that list and I have no idea what the fuck that was because the one you sent, I don't know.
It was Cam's personal list.
No, it literally says top 100, and then Dylan's like, "Oh, but this list says something else." I don't know.
Yeah. Well, on the page, it says it's number 27 out of top 250 on IMDb, and it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah, this movie is, I felt it was extremely on the nose. This is like a jab at the evils of capitalism and kind of Western society, right? Like from the get-go, the parents turn into pigs because they just show up and think that because they have money, they can do whatever they want, start eating all this food.
Okay.
That's what
And,
I got from it.
Overconsumption.
Yeah. Like, don't worry, Daddy
Interesting.
has credit cards and he's got cash. Don't you worry. They sit down, they eat. Like, dude, we'll pay, I guess, if people come by. And then, is it Yonobu?
Yes, the witch.
Yonobu and Zaniba. I got the two names confused for a while, but Yonobu teaches
Or,
them a
no,
good
it's
lesson.
Yubaba.
It's
so-
Yubaba.
Yubaba.
Yeah.
What was up with those two looking exactly the same? Like, why did they have
They
to be
were
twins?
identical
But why did
twins.
they have to be twins, you know? Is that
They're
like
also
saving money?
dressed the same, which is kind of weird.
See, I was really excited to do, like, I wasn't excited to do an anime movie because it's not quite my jam, but we have Ben on the podcast, and I came up with some questions. Is it just, like, significantly cheaper if they make these two characters exactly the same?
I mean, Probably. It does probably save time and money when you can literally just copy the character sheet instead of having to design a new one. Even just the clothing and everything in general is a lot easier to do. But you would have thought, like, okay, so there was an old company back in like the 60s and 70s, and I think maybe into the 80s, called Filmation, and they did a lot of like old DC comic stuff. They did like some Batman cartoons and different stuff like that. If you've ever seen like the meme where Batman's emblem is like reversed instead of like the normal color, it's like black on the outside with the yellow bat on it. Filmation was famous for these kind of like mistakes in that. But another thing they were famous for was just reusing shit over and over again. So like, oh, hey, we're making this Transformers cartoon. We need these two characters to fight. Oh, we already drew that like 3 seasons ago. Just throw those cells back in there. No one will know. They were super famous for that. They were also super famous for like recoloring. So like, oh, we need a new character. We have this one. Perfect. Just paint it a different color and we'll be done with it. So you would think that would be something that would change. But based on the fact that this was 2001, it might have been done digitally. So it honestly, depending animation-wise, would have been super easy to change. But I also feel like the fact that they put so much effort in that into the art and everything in this movie, they would not just cheap out by being like, oh, I know, let's just change the color on them.
I gotcha.
I don't know if you guys noticed this. So, did you guys all listen to the English dub, right? Or watched, I guess, the
Yeah.
English dub?
Yes.
So, Chihiro,
Yeah.
voiced by Lilo, or the girl who did Lilo and Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Haku is Thackeray Binks from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Or Max from the Goofy movie.
He was also
Tara Strong was the baby who does Timmy Turner's voice.
Yep. Well, Tara Strong, Jason Marsden also worked together on Fairly Odd Parents. Jason Marsden was Chester.
He's in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh my God, that's John Marsden. God damn it, Zachary. But he was Chester, the kid with the
Oh yeah,
like the overbite or whatever. Well, they kind of all did, but he was the one with the whatever, like the teeth.
the one with the teeth.
The Thieves.
The voice cast in the dub was honestly really, really good, and kind of a who's who also of like Disney, which makes sense. The fact that, Disney Japan.
I think it's an important call out as we're going to be reviewing the American or English dubbed version. I was going to come in and like slam the script or slam the text between the characters for being super campy, but I think we're already like translated from Japanese to English as best as they could. And also I read up online that they tried really hard to also match the mouth movement. They didn't want the mouth movements to be super off because they thought it would detract from the film, and it probably would. I think I'll lay off the text for now.
It is interesting. Maybe it's just me being a white American, but some of the stuff is like a little hard for me to like follow. Like some of the like
Oh, definitely.
like the spirits. And,
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot of cultural stuff that
this person is like a river. And
I feel like stuff went way over my head sometimes, and I was just like, okay. Like at times I was
radish
just
spirit?
like,
Yes,
what
the
the
radish
fuck is
spirit
happening right now?
or even like No Face, who again, I do a ton of digging. Probably I get way too deep in order to come up with quiz questions sometimes, but No Face actually is like a silkworm, which is a highly revered creature in Japanese mythology, which is sort of interesting why he's in the movie and plays a good guy. And then there's a funny meme at the end. He's like spinning silk into thread when he's a silkworm. So like, but there's a ton of stuff like that we don't get because it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, that's what I watched it with my wife, and she was kind of like, "This movie's a bit confusing in that sense," and I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I had seen it before. I watched it maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, so I was like I know what happens, but yeah, I do definitely. I'm like, there's a little bit of a cultural difference there, but it's still like understandable and enjoyable.
Yeah, you get it.
Ben, so on the IMDb trivia there, not digging into it, but it does say this is the only traditionally animated film to win the Oscar for Best Animated
Okay,
Feature
so-
as of 2020.
So it was not digitally.
So traditionally animated, that means that they're drawing like every frame?
Yes, I believe so. Because you can do digital 2D animation versus like traditional is usually like hand drawn cell by cell. Which, I mean, yes, that sounds like a lot, but realistically, I think if you think of like a lot of the cartoons in that would have been done like while we were growing up were still traditionally animated. It's just that a lot of the times they do, I mean, they hire out to a studio that has, I mean,
Slave labor?
countless sometimes, yeah, sometimes honestly it is kind of like that where they have so many people just sitting at a drawing table for 8 hours a day doing cell by cell. So typically you kind of think like the storyboard might give you the kind of the hits and everything like that, and then there's people that literally take and draw cell by cell the in between parts of that storyboard. It's a lot.
And now you just have to have a server farm the size of a skyscraper to
Kentucky.
render.
Well,
10,
well, yeah. If you're
10 minutes of movie.
if you're well, especially if you're like, I mean, your 2D doesn't
Coco.
Your 2D doesn't really do a lot of it, which I don't want to dig too much into because I don't want to be that guy. But by God, I miss the fact that movies used to be able to be 2D animated and still be good. And now it's like, no, we can't 2D animate. Everything has to be 3D, and it has to take about 1 million computers in a render farm somewhere out in Arizona to just sit and render all day.
And that's how you get the Glubgo Gabgo Lab.
The Shwabble Dabble Flubble Flabble Shrubble Dabble Dab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have that shit meme.
But I mean, a lot of shows that do their animation digitally, it speeds up. I think South Park did a thing where they kind of talked about their beginning stages where they were doing like paper cutouts to when they switched to digital, and the fact that their production time went from like a month or two an episode to like start to finish writing to air like a week. So it's insane the difference between even like picture by picture or cell, drawing each individual cell to being able to kind of do everything digitally. But
I know you mentioned No Face, Zach, but I feel like he's one of the characters that people like have shit for. Like, having never seen a Studio Ghibli film before last year, everyone has like the Totoro shit and like the No Face stuff, and I'm like, huh, okay. And then I watched this movie and I'm like, No Face is kind of an asshole.
I'm really confused why.
yeah, I don't know why people
Yeah.
like cling to that character. Like that's
Well,
the
so
one.
she mentions, the main character mentions that she thinks that No Face is acting weird only while inside the
It's the
bathhouse.
bathhouse or something.
The bathhouse is making him crazy or something. Because but before he's like very like reserved, I guess. But after he like eats the frog is when he starts getting weird.
Yeah, see, that I interpret it again as another point of like greed is bad, because anybody that he was able to like give money to, he tried to eat. And his big thing for some reason was he wanted to eat Chihiro, but because she wouldn't take anything from him, she wouldn't take an extra bath token, she wouldn't take any gold. He, I don't know, crumbled somehow, and I feel like that's maybe a part of like mythology or culture that I just never learned growing up.
Yeah, I guess that is it, because he's fine like when they go see Granny,
Yeah.
and he's kind of fine before. I guess he's just kind of creepy, like following her around before.
It's odd that he shows up in the beginning of the movie and he's just standing on the bridge, whatever. And then in the middle of the movie, he's kind of the antagonist, going around eating everybody, being the big baddie. And then at the end, he's back to being calm and following, Chihiro onto the train and at Zeniba's house.
But it is
Really
like
odd. I
after
didn't
she
get it.
does feed him the whatever medicine thing that the river spirit gave her. I don't know how much that has to do with it, but that could be kind of like the cleansing of his.
Dude, that river spirit, that medicine was the shit, because It brought a dragon basically back from the dead. It
Yep.
made the big baddie the big goodie. What else could it have done?
Could definitely cure COVID.
Chihiro, you had the cure. I had to save my dragon.
I gave it to the guy who ate 3 people. What?
That's such an our government move. Like, hey, you have this vaccine. Are we gonna save people with it? I was going to, but like I just gave it to this person that already had COVID and is like immune for the next couple of months. So like it's fine. It's good. I gave it to Rudy Giuliani. It's fine.
Can't give you a pardon, but here's a COVID vaccine.
I will say this movie, it doesn't necessarily follow like a. I want to compare it to like Pixar movies. You know how like Pixar, I feel like there's always like a huge ultimatum or like big like turn of events that kind of happens. And I guess this one kind of has it like, oh, she's trapped in the spirit world, but it's like, oh, you're in the spirit world, go get a job. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. And I feel like I just watched Soul, so like in Soul it's like you're also in the spirit world, but like you got to get back. And
Yeah.
it's like she's just kind of like, all right, I'm going to go about my business, do whatever. And then it's like just by being like a genuinely nice person, she eventually just finds her way back.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, this movie is like obviously the animation and the color and the score are all like very good. Like just like the imagination and creativity that went into this movie is insane. But the plot itself is just I don't know. I just didn't think it was that like special, I guess. Like the plot was literally like Alice in Wonderland almost.
Yeah.
And then like, like you said, like some elements were like all over the place. Like 1 minute they're like, this girl is literally evil because she's a human, and then the next they're all like giving her high fives and like praising her and stuff. And like I don't know, I just some of the stuff just like kind of turned on a dime.
I mean, that happened because she literally saved the river spirit. It's not like she just walked in one day and was like, everyone's like, you know what? She's all right. And then
Yeah,
2
your
minutes
Baba
later,
tried to shit on her, and she threw the shit back.
and then 2 minutes later, they're like, I like this girl. Yeah. 3 cheers for Sen. Like, no, she gritted her teeth, did the shit work, which you really feel bad. Is it Lynn?
Lynn.
You feel
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
for Lynn because just by like being a decent person, she just like, oh, you take care of the new girl. Like, oh, whatever. I guess that's fine. I'll watch out for the new girl. Oh, hey, you have the new girl who we don't like. So guess what? Now you have to do all the shittiest work possible. Like what?
Hey, but she did get roasted newt.
Yes,
mean-
she got a roasted newt.
Fair.
Can we talk about the workers at the bathhouse and who does what? Because apparently scrubbing the big tub is frog shit. But
Yeah.
were all the women like in the room, like with Lynn and Chihiro, in like the room they slept in? There were a ton of women in there. Were they all humans? And they just also had jobs at the
See,
bathhouse,
that's what I'm
or were
wondering.
they
I
spirits?
don't think so.
They're
They're
were,
not humans.
I don't think.
They were all like
Yeah, I don't think they're
frog
humans.
human-looking hybrids.
No, you're thinking of the men. I feel like all the men were the frog people.
Well,
Yes.
The women.
the
were
women
not
also
quite
though
frogs.
kind of had like the like the longer head, like round, I don't know, kind of frog-like bodies, but like normal legs and arms. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting because she's like, "Oh, that's frog work," but then there's like the big frogs, and then there's like the little frog guy. that
Right.
the,
And then there's
face
literal
eats.
frog. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like the frog people, and then there's literal frogs.
Then there's like the ducks with the lily pads on their heads.
Yeah. The side
It's like
ducks.
how in
I call them
Animal
side ducks the
Crossing
whole
there's
movie.
like in Animal Crossing there's like the villagers that are animals, but then there are actual animals. You know, like
are
you
there?
catch fish.
Oh,
But you
okay.
like catch fish, and there's like sometimes there's like a bird. There's an owl
Yeah, I
that
get what you
sometimes
mean.
comes in and sits on like
Spiders
the
and
little
shit.
post board. But then and you
They
can't
just
talk
haven't
to
been
that owl.
liberated.
That owl is clearly like an animal. But then the museum is run by another owl.
It's like the Goofy movie.
Yeah, it's like Goofy
Goofy
and-
had a dog.
Well, it's like
Pluto.
Goofy and Pluto. You know,
Yeah,
both
so
dogs.
it's like,
They're both
on what's the
Goofy
spectrum here? Like
is
at
not
what
a
point?
dog.
did this podcast just turn into Stand By Me? Because I feel like this just turned into Stand By Me.
Do you think if you just walked into like Apple and you went up to Tim Cook and you were like, give me a job. I want a job.
I want a job. I'm not leaving until I get a job.
Well,
Be like,
You'd
you
be
know,
escorted out by security.
they explain that away by saying that the woman like took some
Yeah, it's her
like,
oath.
pledge or oath.
I don't
or
know why I
something
ever took that oath.
to give to give anyone a job that asks for it. It's such
Well,
a weird,
nice
oddly specific
Sweep
oath
that
to
under
take.
the rug.
wait a second. How did we get to that part where you just give people jobs who ask?
Also, I have a question.
Fire off into Jobland. Apparently, that's Jobland.
Yobabu, the queen of Jobland, has a baby.
Yubaba?
Yes.
Yubaba, yeah,
You're
sorry.
being extremely offensive right now.
Sorry. There's a guy that I work with named Babu, and I'm getting names confused all over the place. Babu, if you're listening, I was thinking of you apparently. Yobaba has a giant baby. I want to know who was clapping them cheeks.
The 3 heads.
The 3 heads were clapping the Yubaba cheeks.
I mean, I feel like
It's a massive baby. It had to have
They
been
never
a giant,
explain
right?
where she
Like,
got a
there's
giant
a reason
baby.
she looks tired.
I feel like that baby is like full grown. Like
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's-
the other
it's
weird
like an
part is the
adult-
baby can talk and
It looked
walk
like a
and
giant.
has complex thought, is manipulative and like I don't know.
Maybe
that
it's a
part
social
was
commentary.
weird.
Maybe what the writers are saying is that if you never leave that room, you don't ever grow up. You don't ever become an adult. You're just a baby the whole time.
did anyone have any scenes or lines? Any quotes?
I mean,
that stuck out to them?
there was a quote that really, I thought it was inspirational. It touched me deeply. It was let's see if I can get it right. It was
No face. I don't want any gold.
Yeah, that was so cringy. Like, No Face is just like,
dude. I watched it with the subtitles on, and he was
did
like,
too.
And that is what he says.
he says,
God.
you can't fucking talk. What the hell is this? You were talking, although, yeah, so he was only able to talk after he swallowed the first frog person. So, I mean, I guess I get that, but yeah.
This movie had some just amazing scenes. One thing that I think is interesting to chit chat about is, did this movie drag or was it really like patient? Because watching this movie, I felt relaxed multiple times. Like on the train scene, I just fucking chilled. I wasn't bored. It just felt
That was
peaceful.
like some lo-fi beats to chill to.
It was like hip-hop, lo-fi beats to chill to.
I will say there were. I feel like you bring that up, but I feel like the answer's both. Like at times, I felt
Yeah.
like the beginning to get to like the part where it turns kind of
into the
into this
shadow realm.
spirit world. Like it just
Upside down.
just
Got the
felt like
upside
that
down.
was so long. Like I'm just like, dear God, how long are we? We're 20
Yeah.
minutes in and nothing of like importance has happened yet. Like what?
Wow, we're 2 hours
What
in and
the
nothing of
what the
importance. has
fuck is
happened
going on? And then
Cameron's rating.
then it kind of picks up and things start happening, and then you do have like the slower scenes that feel more like patient and just kind of like plotting but the right way. But I'll be honest, to get into that movie, it took a bit too long. I feel like they could have shaved some of that off and been okay.
Really? I feel like it just went real quick because they're like it starts and they're like in the car,
Well, yeah,
and then
but
it's like, oh, we took a wrong turn. Here we are. All right, let's go in. Like it does take a minute to set up and be like, all right, go get a job and like meet the boiler man.
oh, I mean, even just for it to like switch, like by the time she gets to the bridge for the first time and meets Haku, like it just felt like that kind of puttered along, and it could have been a little bit quicker, I guess. I don't know. Like all the time spent finding the restaurant just seemed like kind of unnecessary. Like we could have kind of picked up a little bit of that pace. Just my personal feeling. That's the only, like I said, I think the beginning was the only time that I felt like it kind of dragged. The rest of the time I felt like it kind of moved at like a good pace, or if it was slower, like it was slow but in a good way.
See, I think the opposite. I thought it dragged at the end, at the train scene where Zach was like, "Oh, this is just relaxing." Uh, I thought that was a lot slower, in my sense. I
Like
don't know.
it's probably depends on your perspective because I think that allows them to show off a lot of artistic style and scene making versus like if you don't care about that then you're just like, oh, fuck this, like come on, just get there. But depends on what you're watching it for. I think I'm more in your boat as well. I don't know, I don't really
Well, it's
care for
funny you
that
say
stuff as
that
much
because
but
I also think at the beginning it's kind of like that too. Like when they first walk into that building and it does like that long like pan across to the other entrance, I was like, "Oh, that's like very like let's show what we can do art
Yeah.
style." Or like when they get to the theme park and it's like showing different parts of the park and it's like, "Look what we got. We can draw." And you're like, "Oh, this is very artistic."
Yeah.
And then like you said in the later one, it's kind of like that too when they're like going across the water and showing the flashing lights coming by on the train and stuff like that. I feel like both kind of serve the same purpose of like it's artsy and it's like setting things up, but I feel like the later one affected me more because I was like, all right, how are we gonna wrap this up? How are we gonna show 6 stops on a train real quick?
We're not going to do it real quick. We're going to make you watch.
So this week's podcast is brought to you by Surfside Sips. They make high impact glass straws. They're a family owned company. And what's better than saving the turds,
the turds.
The turds.
I'm one of those people who hates using paper straws. Paper straws fucking
Paper straws suck. They
I
are
love
the worst
what
solution.
they do. I love that we're minimizing the use of plastic straws. I enjoy that. Paper straws suck ass.
They suck. They're the worst possible solution because turns out, guess what? Paper and water don't fucking mix, okay? I don't know who came up with it, but it doesn't work. Even though they put coating on it to try and help, it doesn't work. It just gets soggy and you end up throwing it away anyway, and that's just more waste. And so,
But you know what doesn't get soggy? Glass.
yeah.
Glass straws from Surfside Sips. And if you want to get some glass straws from Surfside Sips, you can use coupon code cocktails and classics spelled out. That's cocktails AND classics for 20% off your order.
And if you're looking for a business to support during this time, seems like a good idea.
A little bit of a tradition around here is Zach takes over and puts us through a trivia quiz. So Zach, what do you have for us this week on Spirited Away?
Oh my god. Thanks, Dylan? Question mark? Is that Dylan?
Please never do that ever again.
Question number 1, boys. What country does the real-life version of the bathhouse depicted in Spirited Away exist? Is it A, Taiwan, B, South Korea, or C, Japan? Miyazaki wasn't known for writing scripts, but he was a really big fan of visiting places and then drawing them, and ultimately taking those back as a storyboard to make movies. And he did so at this bathhouse in particular.
A, Taiwan. Taiwan? Is that what we said?
Taiwan, South Korea, or Japan?
Taiwan. Final answer.
Roger, Roger.
Oh.
Oh, 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 oh.
A lot of guttural noises from characters in the
Yeah.
I don't know if he sounded like that.
He
No,
did.
that's
He
exactly
did.
that.
I watched
that was
it twice.
actually
That's
just a
what he sounded like.
soundboard. He recorded it and has just played it for us.
It's
just
funny,
now.
for the American version, they actually brought in a few famous guttural actresses. Mia Khalifa was one of them, I know.
Oh my god.
Remy LaCroix was in there.
They should have got OG Mudbone.
No, that would have been too obvious. He's got a very distinctive... Oh, shit!
No,
Yeah,
Face,
that
are
would
you
have
okay?
that would have taken me out of the movie. That's for sure. the no face hands over gold. Oh shit! I'm gonna. No, I don't. I definitely don't want that now. I didn't before, and I certainly don't now.
Just so you know, that's gonna be the Instagram clip. It's just gonna be. I'm gonna cut like no face being like,
God.
and then it's just be,
Oh my God.
Anyway, what do you guys think about this trivia question? Do you guys think it's Taiwan or
We just lost our entire Japanese fan base.
Dylan?
you guys think it's Japan?
I don't really know about bathhouses in Korea. Like,
Be kind of weird if
I'm
you
sure
did.
they exist, but like I don't really know if that's like a part of like South Korean like culture. I think I'm gonna say Taiwan as well.
I'm going to go with South Korea, and more specifically, I think it's in Seoul.
So I will say I almost included China as an option because I really wanted to just get rid of our Chinese government supportive fan base. The answer is Taiwan, which is a country and it does exist.
Yeah, China.
Thank you.
We often have American propaganda on this this podcast. Thought I'd throw in some Taiwanese propaganda. All right, Cameron and Dylan tied with a point apiece. Question
Oh, no,
number
wait.
2.
Wait a minute, guys. Did I sweep last time? Because this means I'm in for a zero. I'm in for a 0 right week.
I
Here it
told you
comes.
last week. I said,
Fuck.
check it next week.
All right, the question number 2. The actor voicing Chihiro's mother ate food from what popular fast food chain while filming her pig lines? A. Taco Bell, B. KFC, or C. McDonald's?
KFC for sure.
Damn it! I was gonna say KFC.
I'm pretty sure KFC is like huge. Oh wait.
It's actually, I think it's bigger
the-
outside of America.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Is this are we talking about the Japanese
This is the
version
English,
or the English dub?
Oh no. This is the Japanese
Oh.
version.
Okay,
Okay. So I'm
So
gonna
then
say KFC.
probably is KFC. No, I think she was trying to get into the mindset of like an American pig.
KFC.
So she went for McDonald's.
A lot of social commentary flying.
Yeah, this got real deep real quick.
Or wide. I don't know if it went deep, it went wide.
I'm gonna say McDonald's because it's like it's the biggest. So there's so many McDonald'ses. So I'm gonna guess that's got to be it.
McDonald's is.
It is. McDonald's is actually the 3rd largest fast food chain in the world if you go by locations.
Wow.
Subway's number 1.
Subway is number 1. Starbucks is number 2.
Yep.
KFC is far down the list, but KFC is the correct answer.
Boom.
I figured this one might be a little
what I was
on the
gonna say.
nose because she is eating a chicken drumstick. I thought that might scare you guys away.
No, I was gonna say KFC as well, but I needed to defer from Cam. I thought
Yeah. Well,
this might be my opportunity to get some points.
I'm pretty sure I knew this. Or I like had this in my mind, but KFC is actually like a Christmas tradition in Japan. Like they actually get it on Christmas Day.
Yeah, you have to like order way ahead
Yeah.
in advance.
Question number 3. This is the first film to gross X before opening in the United States. Is it A, 100 million US dollars, B, 200 million US dollars, or C, 300 million US dollars? It's the first film to gross one of those options before opening in the US.
Just in general movies, or
Yes, first film to gross that much before opening in the United States.
I'm gonna say B. I'm just gonna go right in the middle.
I'm also gonna say 200 mil.
Yeah, we
Oh.
didn't carry the tradition of letting Cam answer
Wait a-
first.
Yeah, way to play the game,
Alright, Ben.
Cameron.
Here it comes, Ben.
Well, I'm not
gonna
playing
say
the game. I
C.
really was gonna say that.
I'm gonna say C. Go big or go home. Make that
Well,
money.
ladies and gents, the tradition will carry on. Because
No.
Ben was wrong. After sweeping last
Nice.
week, he got 0 correct this week.
Zero
Cameron
point
and Dylan were both
zero.
correct. It is 200
Nice.
million US dollars before opening.
That's insane.
That's a lot of money.
Do you guys know how much how much Spirited Away grossed its opening year alone?
No.
330 million US dollars, or almost 31 billion yen.
Okay.
This was a massive movie. Up until like the Frozen series came out, this was the biggest animated movie.
Interesting.
And I'm sad because you're not going to get to hear my tiebreaker. I did so much work on.
So those of us who have seen it wrote down our ratings based off memory and nostalgia. And now I want to know if your ratings have changed or not. I'll go first. I have seen it. Going in, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Watched it a couple months back, and I was whelmed. I'm not the biggest fan of like Pixar family like animated features. I can really respect the art that goes into making them, but they're just not quite for me. Like, I'll watch them once and be like, yeah, it's all right, you know. On a second viewing, I'm gonna move it up to 6.5 out of 10. That whole half point, you know. I do really appreciate this movie. Having seen like one other Studio Ghibli film, uh, I think this movie is a lot better than that one, and I think it's less of like a kids movie, like per se. I think it's still like a family film, but I don't think it's like directed directly towards kids. Um, there's those small like cultural differences, and it does kind of drag, and it's not like in a sense of like high stakes, like whoa. It just kind of ends, but it is enjoyable and kind of like Zach said, you know, you kind of tune in and kind of like relax and just enjoy the ride as it goes. Like you're not really on the edge of your seat necessarily at any point, but it's a good time, and I definitely recommend people to watch it.
Yeah, I agree. People need to watch it. If nothing else, like just chill out, relax. There's a lot of shit going on right now. Just watch this. The music, I'm a fan of a painted backdrop. I don't know if I'm a fan of a painted backdrop and foredrop. But this really took me back to like my Dragon Ball Z days watching anime stuff. I think I can appreciate the movie for what it is while not knowing a lot. There's a lot of mythology, a lot of cultural things that being an American who grew up in the 90s, I think is just over my head. But there's still stuff you can enjoy. It's not the greatest thing in the world to me, but I can understand how this movie would like touch at people who are much closer to that type of culture or mythology. I'm going to give it a 5. I did watch it twice. I enjoyed it. Will I turn it on again? I mean, maybe. If I'm super stressed for some reason over the next 4 years and need to chill for a bit, maybe I'll turn it back on.
All right. So, having not seen this movie before, going into it, obviously knowing it's a Japanese animated feature film, I'll be honest, coming from a like growing up wanting to go into animation and that, I can be a bit snobby about how things look or like just kind of generic art styles. Some art styles I see and I'm like, I love it. There's some shows that could be like the best written cartoons ever, and I just can't get past the art style. Sometimes anime is kind of the same way, where sometimes the art style is like something I can be okay with. Sometimes it's kind of off-putting. I will say this movie is done beautifully. Like you talked about like the painted backdrops and everything like that. Like some of the shots in this are great. Some of the character designs are a little out there for me, but I get that it's kind of a fairy tale-esque telling, so I can kind of look past it. Yeah, it's chill. It's kind of a chill movie. Yeah, I gave it a 7. If you're someone who's into any sort of animation and stuff like that, I definitely think it should be on a must-watch list. I think it's definitely recommended viewing. Check it out. Chill. I'm definitely thinking I might check out some of their other stuff because I've heard good things, and this one didn't drop the ball enough for me to be like, I'm not watching anymore.
For the most part, I think that this, I mean, I kind of agree with Dylan, but in some sense I was kind of let down. I thought the reviews of this movie are just so good, and people that like this movie, like, really like this movie. And honestly, like, anime is not really my thing. I'm not really into it. It's fine if other people are. It's just not my thing. And so I was kind of going into this hoping like be like, oh, this is something that I kind of will like enjoy. But I don't know. It just didn't feel that strongly about it. Like the animation, it was amazing. Like it was very good. Like I said earlier, the creativity that was put into this movie is outstanding. Just like the sheer amount of detail of, characters and creatures that are truly one of a kind. Things you've never seen before, really. That said, I don't know. Maybe it's just culturally I don't get it, or in my view, a lot of it is very similar to like Alice in Wonderland, I guess. But I just didn't think the story did anything for me. So for that reason, I'm just gonna give it a 6. I thought it was fine. Would I watch it again? Probably not, honestly. But
I think if I saw this movie like as a kid, it would probably hit me some type of way. But
Probably
as
better,
an
yeah.
adult, I'm like, yeah, all right.
right, yeah. I just feel like it's very, in my view, it's very okay. Like, it's not awful. Like, it's definitely not awful. And like I said, like the quality of the movie, like the animation is great in my opinion.
Thanks for listening. Share us with your friends and family. Hit us up on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. As always, watch responsibly.